Yeah, I stay prayed up. Why? Because I know what's at stake, family. I understand what it all means. It's the protection. It's the protection of you. But see, I can't do your work. I can't. Goodness knows if I could, I would. If I could protect you, I would. But I hope that you make it through. Maybe that is the reason now where you are right now. You are seeing what has been evident the whole time. But you still want to believe that things happen just because. You still want to use what you've known as a means to not acknowledge what is playing out in front of you. Why? Do you realize how many obstacles, setbacks, and challenges that are placed before you are placed before you because you fail to acknowledge what is being revealed? So how can you call yourself strong when you're not collectively protecting yourself, mind, body, spirit? Come on now. What is a person that only uses their physical self and not the intellect that was given by the moment you took your first breath? It's called being exploited. But when you add a pattern that is progressive through a time lapse period of time, that is nothing but enslavement, self-induced. Peace and blessing, family. This is your boy Gerald. It is Friday. You made it to the backside of your weekend. Excuse me. Backside of your work week. And I hope that you are well. I hope that this was the week that whatever that had been looming, you didn't run from it. You acknowledged it. Didn't mean you had to act, but you at least took the first step required. Come on. No. Hold your thought, because we're not going to do this today, buddy. Let's go. Let's go. Because, see, by choosing not to acknowledge what is being revealed, you are basically saying and acting in a position that we know as Stockholm Syndrome. In other words, you are giving an unconditional pass to the perpetrator, to the abuser, because you fail to acknowledge what is true, what is evident, about what is needed. So, putting this video out, I'm throwing this out there right now because I got to reach the intended person with the intended heart and mind, because it's about your legacy. There'll be countless people out there throwing up banners of saying this and that, but at the end of the day, it does not matter, because the fact of It cannot be applied until you walk outside your door. So I'm going to start this off right now and ask you, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Because if you did, why aren't you protecting what is sacred? Hold that thought, family, one more time. You may be wondering, I said, Gerald, I see you burning incense. Those incense were frankincense, and I'm burning sage because you'll come to understand that them demons, because demons exist, family. I don't know why you keep trying to turn around and one. Let me slide this back. I find it kind of ironic when you have those that want to play with the occult and romanticize it, but the end result in that will be death. And the real question is why? Because you failed to acknowledge that that's what Lucifer wanted the whole time. You have those that want to make a mockery of the spiritual hierarchy, but yet are amazed that every year something new and approved is revealed, not knowing that it was been there the whole time, only evolving because knowledge had first been introduced to man by the fallen angels. But it matters not. It matters not because you too pre-absorbed in what they want you to think. Do you know who you are? Because if you did, you were protected. So I'm gonna cover a couple things, and I'm going to try to do my best to keep it condensed. Number one, let's go back. Yesterday I put a video out and gave my opinion on another video that has been released over social media that it had to do with a couple, and it was an intimate setting where the two were in a room facing each other, and the female was in a place of motion where she felt comfortable to ask the person that she was in love with, why did you betray me? But while that video had so many messages being put out there by the human dynamic, by behavior, some of y'all could relate, and some of y'all chose to deflect because what was evident was you saw yourself in either one of those positions. The number one thing that was being shown was authenticity of the bond. You're saying, well, Joe, how is it authentic when the guy cheated on the young woman? Because no matter what, no matter where she was, you could tell without not one word spoken that her love was pure. It was pure. That's why when you hear people say and has been recorded, it's written all over your face, because you'll come to understand that your body has a way of communicating things that your mouth cannot. If you choose to be comfortable in your own skin, there's a great deal of people that will not. And out of that great deal of people, there'll be a lot of people that will not see their purpose. I mentioned this before at one time when I served in the United States Air Force. We had a term called calculated casualty. And socially, that is the same thing prevalent today. Because there are those who will fall in those traps and snares because they're not ready mentally. Your elders may have told you, slow down, boy. You're too smart for your own good. Only for you to dust those knees off. Only for you to pick up your face. Only for you to try to figure it out. How about try to figure it out on the fly? Which you already know does not work until you ground your feet. Who am I talking to? Family, a divided house cannot stand. Did you hear me? A divided house cannot stand. Which is what I've always echoed. You cannot have dialogue with a community until you commune with yourself. How can you protect something you know nothing about? And that's what's tragic. And the sad thing about it is, socially, the archetype owes you nothing. The world doesn't owe you anything. Meanwhile, you've got people raising the fist under a false agenda. But they won't claim that. They use that as a means to mask the brokenness that they have chosen not to heal. You mad? You mad? I'd be mad too if I couldn't heal. But that's a oxymoron, because to heal means you must acknowledge what's broken, which means that requires you to be authentic, which requires you to be vulnerable to yourself. You owe nothing to nobody. Hold on, Gerald. Wait a minute. Whoa. That means you're saying to be selfish. No, I'm saying to love yourself. Why do we have a commonality in community? To deflect. Well, I don't want to snitch, Gerald. Snitches get stitches. Yeah. But you wouldn't have anything to snitch about if you wasn't in the environment to begin with. Who am I talking to? You ain't built for that. You never was. Why you think you got those bruises and scars? To remind you there's something better. If you choose to embrace it, what you afraid of? That your circle won't accept you? Why don't you look to that person in the mirror that greets you every morning and tell them they ain't worth it? Why don't you tell them that? Oh, I can't do that, Gerald. I can't, to show my emotions that I'm I'll be weak, bro. You walking dead now. You are walking dead now because you refuse to be what your elders dreamed about. How about them? Hmm? What about them? When you weren't even a twinkle in your dad's eye. You think your elders were not trying to envision, manifest a better way for you? Hmm? Now we got babies having babies, getting down on the pedophiles beat. And they think that is validation. But why don't we talk about that? Well, Gerald, I want to have what I see on TV, even though I know it's programming. It's made for TV, not for life. That's why we all take L's. But the people that are benefiting, they ain't on TV. They laughing all the way to the bank. Like Kevin Hart, you hear all through the vines, they use his sound voice, his sound biting, like look right there. Think they ain't talking about that? You think they're not using that as a template to educate their young? See, that's why I told you. That's why. And since I'm talking about this, let me give you some validation on something. I told y'all almost a month ago about that little girl that has been sensationalized all through social media. And you see TMZ and all these bunko media outlets, they're trying to build a false platform on that girl. And now they are trying to smooth her for a certain dynamic, a certain demographic. They say, look here, we got a poster child for the bad girls dynamic. But you notice with the Bad Girls Club, you always see the same thing. An ultra hypersexual female that runs to that bottle, raising her fist. You'll never hear her talking about her daddy. Why is that? Why is that? Well, Gerald, she didn't have her daddy. That's why. Now, let me ask you this. What is the possibility that the father saw something that he could not condone? I'm saying, let's look at this at a 50% or 50 percentile. Because I'm gonna tell you something, Queens. As long as you keep running around thinking that you're acting like a man, you won't have one. Meanwhile, you having people run around under your Christmas tree. Eventually, that root gets dry. That petal, why you think you look like a flower? And what happens to flowers when they ain't protected? They wither, they reek, and they die. That ain't your story. But you keep looking at them people, and they will rob you of your life. And they don't care what you think about it. Because while you're looking at them, they know that you ain't looking at you. Now, I know some of y'all going to be on your good foot and y'all going to be like, why are you so passionate about women, Gerald? Because you're being deceived. And this agenda has been running for the last 70 years. And if you want to put a social standard of including separatism, we can go back 400. Because there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of trauma there that we refuse to address. But here's the funny thing about it, figuratively. Why are you so protective over your pain? What do you get out of embracing your pain? Some of you have loyalty to your denial more than you do your life. I don't need no man, Gerald. I like doing me. But the end result is the same thing. New face, same drama. Only to leave you more tattered and torn and left alone. Well, that's okay. I got my child. That's all I need. So you disenfranchise the child because you're not equipped with the tools you need to be a woman. A woman is supposed to be nurtured. She's supposed to be protected. But if she refuses to protect herself, she's already lost. Come on now. So I saw all this. I saw all this passive aggressive comments. You know, people were letting their little fingers go regarding dude who looked like a throwback of a Hebrew. He had the helmet beard and the little mustache, and I mean he did. He was rocking that biblical look. But I bet you a nickel to a dime he has no spiritual connection because he's embracing what is socially accepted in his living constant. His living constant is nothing more than what is condoned and found in his environment. Because guess what? Our kids learn from us. So let's talk about the little girl with the big mouth that only wants to be, she really needs to be loved. She needs to feel safe. And she needs structure, not coins. But you see the machine circling this vulnerable little girl. You see it. The vultures are sitting on that telephone line waiting because they already know she's wounded. But why hasn't someone said, baby girl, why are you so angry? What's going on? I see your hurt. I see your pain. That's why your voice is so elevated. When the conversation and dialogue should be intimate. Who is that projected to? That's the real reason why you feel that you have to do this, because you're trying to send a message to someone indirectly because you don't have the tools to communicate effectively. Who am I talking to? Meanwhile, the radicalization of our community That's right, I said it. The radicalization of our community has been going on for the last 65 years. It didn't just so happen to show up that now you've got a bunch of pissed off little non-minority women. I got something to say. I'm hostile. I know their parents are very proud of that too. Maybe that's the reason why they take positions of arrogance and vulgarity and mask it in black clothes, because you don't have the fortitude or the courage to stand on what you speak or think you believe. So you can't be me, no matter how angry you get. And the real question should be, why would you? You were made perfect the moment that you took your first breath. Your first breath was the seal that was in place for your purpose. Your knowledge that you will embrace will be the navigation tool for your direction, not your setbacks. Who am I talking to? So where you going? Who are you trying to convince that the person is in the world is the person that's within, when you know you are living a lie? You know you're living a lie. That's why you're angry. That's why you feel it's important to hold on secrets than your character. But you spend more energy being and character and not claiming yourself. Well, Gerald, I just want to have my white picket fence and my life, and I want to have my 2.5 children. Yeah. Why can't I have that? I see it on TV. Why can't I have that? Because you ain't investing in you. But as long as you keep convincing yourself that I'm going to take matters in my own hands, who's protecting you? Why do you keep lying to yourself, thinking, well, you know what? Now, it didn't work out with me and Claude over here, so I'll just pull from the bench. Don't you realize, Queen, by you having a starting five, even entertaining that, you are defiling yourself? And the commonality is eventually when you decide to see your truth, you was not the prize. You were the pawn. And the commonality is you allowed thieves in the temple to ransack what was sacred ground. Why you think fibroids exist, family? Huh? It's a byproduct of sleeping with dirty people. Let's call it for what it is. Oh, I just watch and go, Gerald. Yeah. Till that infection comes. Until you have to sit in front of someone who does not care as long as you have a copay filled out to bear the reality of your choices. I'm sorry. Now the stopwatch begins. Click. Now things is real. Oh, it been real the moment that you decided not to love yourself. Nah, bro. I'm a young man. I'm a young man. I got to get out there and dump my dipstick wherever I can. I better get her before she gets me, because, I got to slip in, slip out. You a fool. You're a fool. I'm gonna tell you why. If you know anything about the world and the world populace, let's not even get. Let's just not even go grand scale. Let's just go community. What thing is apparent is this: there's a shortage of men, and there's even a extremely short amount of spiritual ones. In society, they're trying to convince you, Queen, you know what, you take whatever you can get. Just go right on here. And I know that you want to have a fan. I got that. But how about this? Uh, go ahead and holler at Sarah. She'll keep your bed warm. She will. Well, we can always adopt, Gerald. Okay. Did you hear what I just said earlier? You can't be me. I don't want to be you. And unfortunately, we live in a world where society has convinced, well, I just don't want to be, I'll just be whatever I want. You know, if I want to bat for the away team, I will. And if I want to hankering for a fever of a, yeah, I'll go that route. But I'm just going to be me, Gerald. Do you know who you are? Because if you did, you would protect it. What are you doing, Gerald? I know somebody thinking. At the end of the day, I love my life. At the end of the day, I know the responsibility of having it. At the end of the day, I know that nothing will come to pass if I don't put God first. That's right. So you go over here, over there. Because I'm real. But I can't live your life. See, right now they want you to do what you like. You don't have to own your actions, but we don't want you to take account because your actions is going to own you. That's why they keep lying to you. That's why they keep running in you like a 7-Eleven, only to realize the shelves are not stocked. Because it is about your stock. Does it surprise you on one aspect? You have women suffering. You got now more than ever, there's complications down in the love below, the secret garden. We weren't talking about that 10 years ago. Let's jump over to the guys. All of a sudden now you tired. Your testosterone level is going, oh, I just gotta watch. I gotta watch my weight, but I'm just scatterbrained, Gerald. I'm getting old. You're 22 years old. You ain't even began to live yet. You don't even know how it works. If anything, you understand that that's blood pressure. But if you're using the little head to guide the big head, that's what you get. So I thought it was very ironic. We had so many people saying disrespectful things about this very innocent video. It's on the internet, so it's going to go all over the world. And there were two beautiful young adults. And I say young adults because there couldn't have been no more than their early 20s. And you won't know who you are until you're blessed to see the age of 35. You think you're grown because you're 20? You ain't ready for this life yet. Well, I got kids. You ain't ready for this life. You're not. Because if you would even acknowledge that, you wouldn't make the decisions you keep making. Why are they coming through your door? Why are they allowing you? Why are you allowing them to have access to your life? Well, Joe, I'm related to them. You know, that's not, they don't love you. They don't love you. Why won't you see that? Because the truth of the matter is, it will cause you to question your existence. Some of y'all realize that your whole existence was based off of the decision of your mother. Not the action of your father. But kings, you know you're not representing us at all. Excuse me. You're not. Society is got you right here and you just feeding right off of it. I can be metrosexual. Come on, bro. So let me nip this in the bud. Until you decide to have a relationship with yourself by way of having a relationship with him, nothing you go to do will turn out the way you want. Because God does get tired. You've been holding this wound forever, huh? Well, Gerald, if they only knew, you know, the real reason why I act out that because I'm really afraid because, you know, I they weren't there for me. You weren't there for yourself. And I'm gonna stop it right there. You may have had something occur to you in your childhood. First of all, let's show how that played out. Just as God created you, prepared your life, and sealed your purpose, the devil was right there and watched it. Just like he did with Job. Ain't nothing different. But guess what? That right there should have showed you how unique, how special, and how imperative it is required for you to defend yourself because he can't afford for you to become who you're destined to be. How about the person that's going to be an extension of you? You may be the parent of the of that little girl, that little bird, or that little boy that's going to change the world forever. But see, society says we're going to mess. What y'all don't realize is this is one big psychological experiment, only in layers. From what you hear to what you see and how it impacts your environment. That's why you got people walking around schizophrenic. How about suicidal? How about narcissistic? Because when you hit that narcissistic plateau, you're not the person you was anyway. Nah, that's full-fledged demonic influence in there. Mm-hmm. Some of y'all know. Some of y'all related to somebody. Somebody might be you. You got that demon riding you hard. That's why your anger is like, that's all right. God's gonna bring you right up out of there. Mm-hmm. That's right. Oh yeah. That's why when you see bullies out there acting amok, and then what happens? In the intended time and moment, somebody sits them on their butt. Or, unfortunately, on a slab. You realize there's somebody that's starting their day right now, they ain't gonna see it in. But we don't talk about that now, do we? Queen, why can't you see socially you are being emotionally and psychologically manipulated? Why do you think they have the people in front of the camera? To get you to do things behind it. They know it's effective. If they turned around and said, okay, here's a show, this is what we're going to do, and someone just sat here like me and said, well, look, this is what we're looking for, and this is what I want to achieve, and put it out there, they wouldn't get the viewership, they would not get the support, and they would kill that. They would kill that show just as quick. But I know there's somebody saying, well, Gerald, you got to make your bread how you make your bread. Okay. Well, how well are you sleeping at night? Why are you walking around paranoid? Is it because your shame is up to here now? But your discernment, even though you didn't realize it, told you, don't go there. Going over there. Don't go over there. Don't take that phone call. Don't meet up with them. You know why that was there? Because even in bad behavior, your angels were trying to warn you. But because of free will, the outcome was your choice. Nuh-uh, bro. That just so happened. Okay. Let's flip it. Imagine what the outcome would have been if you stayed home. No stress. Some of y'all would have had more money than you started out with. How about that disappointment? What about that? Let me tell you something, family. Because I can't make it a pigment thing. I can't. Even though you constantly see a reminder of somebody's daughter, somebody's son, somebody's baby. How did we get to how did we get to a point now that you got people live streaming? They only live stream for validation. and they're doing despicable acts. I ain't gonna fill in the blank. You know what I'm talking about. How did that even come about? Hold that thought. Not once, twice. We just had a story. We just had a story 2 days ago. Husband, I guess they were split, came home, killed his wife. How did we get there? Young parents promoting sexual abuse on their children. Hmm. I guess we forgot about the golden rule on the streets. You don't harm a child. But when you have children having children, you gotta look at the parents. He failed. He failed. You gotta own that. Because, well, how's that, Gerald? She's a mother. She did that on her own, but guess what? When you're going above and beyond, that ain't nothing but a cry for attention. But guess what, Queen? In the same breath, you keep saying, there ain't no good men out there, Gerald. So does that give you a pass to be not a good woman? Or is it finally for you to come to terms that we are what we attract? Some of y'all, but then let's bring this in here. You're choosing your soul tie over, you can't even use soulmate. You can't even talk twin flame. You can't. Because guess what? You still don't know you. So how do you know what to steer clear of? Oh, I know. My circle got me. They got you all right. They got you playing yourself. They got you using your body like a living accordion. For what? Well, I pay her light bill. Okay. So you can kind of understand why there's a shortage of men. One part is because they're visible but invisible to you. God's not going to give you what you need if you don't know. If you don't know what you need, that's why he said, you have not because you have not asked. He also said, I need faith of a mustard seed, and I didn't. If you did not have, if you don't understand the scale of a mustard seed, family, it's like the head of a pin. So metaphorically, God is saying, just give me something. Just give me something. And I work with it because that's how God do. God don't waste nothing. But see, you might be in a place which really, come on, let's call it what it is. You're in a dark place right now. And your perspective and your outlook looks very bleak. You know why? Before you can open the doors or open the lights, you got to open your heart. You got to have that conversation with him. He created you. It's not his responsibility to rescue you from you. He gave you. What do you think that heart's for? Meanwhile, you're robbing yourself by embracing emotional triggers because you got control issues. But you tell your audience, oh yeah, he gonna do all this and this and he got all the potential. Yeah, you can't eat potential. I saw the comedy special that Nick Cannon put out. It's on Showtime. And there were things in there that were amusing. There was also he put his little perspective out there. But he said something very pivotal. And he said that, and I'm gonna be very sensitive on this one. In other words, a person will throw what they feel is value and importance if the other person can gratify them. I'm not gonna repeat what he said. It's out there. If you guys got on demand, and you guys have Showtime, it's there. It's there. And it's true. Because we put pedestals where foundation should be there. But yet don't take the accountability when it falls. We get caught up on the physical, not the emotional, let alone the spiritual. Oh, because he looks like he was chiseled out of marble and he's got a rhythm. That's all. That's what you're settling for? And oh, kings. Because she has eyes like the sun in a porcelain doll's face. And just so happened, the symmetry of her build, you compromise your last name. But you don't hear people owning that, though. You only hear them say, well, you know, things are different when I got with your mama. What? How about own this? Why don't people own it? You know what? Truth of the matter is, I was attracted to your mom. I was attracted to your father. We didn't know how things were, but we had that chemistry. You know what chemistry is? That is nothing but a social excuse for not speaking what it is, spiritual influence. And we've gotten so bold and brazen, we are condescending in our failures. Well, you know, I didn't love you. I didn't love you, Dad. You know, why don't you own it and say, well, truth of the matter is, I didn't respect myself, and the result was you. Why? Why don't we tell the truth? Because we want to keep things hush. The siblings know. Well, you know, your father, he's always been a nice guy. But well, what happened? What happened to the person that you grew up with? You should have a bird's eye view of what they was about. You shared the same bathroom, sat at the same dinner table. You already knew what they was about. You grew up with them, but you never know the story. Why is that? Hmm? Why is it that our parents are not transparent about their struggles? Because they know that there's shame there. And they don't want to feel like the hypocrite that they're trying not to portray themselves to be. But the fact of the matter is the behavior is what makes up your knowledge. Why aren't we talking about that? You're not gonna hear nobody's father say, "Well, you know, your mom was really, she was Miss Loose Booty around the way." Yeah, just so happened you slipped up. You ain't gonna hear your pops tell you that. You're not gonna hear your mom say, "Well, the real reason why you were conceived is because your father raped me." You ain't gonna hear that either. But it exists. You're not gonna hear a lot, and there's a lot going on. You're not gonna hear mothers say this. Well, the truth of the matter is, your dad strong-armed me, and I was afraid to leave him, so I just whatever. And I was plotting the whole time to get up out of there and when I did, I left. But you put yourself there to begin with. This is not a discredit of your burdens, of your wounds that you refuse to acknowledge exist. Why do you think that old lady, that crazy lady sitting on the park bench, that old wino sitting in front of the store, how you think they got there? Where were they friends then? You know, their circle. Where are they then? But you don't hear us talk about that. Why? The fact of the matter is you refuse to love yourself. So why would you expect anything less? And here's the sad thing about it, family. You have people that look you dead in your face, generate certain examples to get you to jump, to get you to give your money, and they laughing all the way to the bank. One minute they're saying, "I'm ride or die." Yeah, I am. The next moment, they act like they had nothing to do with it. You'll never hear me come out my mouth and say, "I told you so." But the truth is, I know you deserve to be happy. But I can't make you happy. I can't make you close your legs either. I can't make you protect your seed, King. I cannot make you see the value of your last name. I can't do that. I have to do that myself. But what is evident is this: they're not stopping the structure, the constructions of correctional facilities. They're not stopping that. And you're not seeing caretakers marching. You don't see them protesting because they look at life like a bag of Lay's potato chips. I can dump the whole bag out. There'll be more. There'll be more. And I think it's very sad because let's go back to the dysfunctional little 13-year-old. That little girl. I blame my mama. I blame my mama. And I blame her dad to a degree, to a small degree. Because I bet you there was a possibility that emotionally he was there. And she pushed him out. Let me tell you what, there's a lot of people walking around with emotional wounds, family. Doesn't matter how big you stick your chest out. All you got to do is look at the behavior patterns and have the courage to see it. That's why it's very disparaging, because you could try to reinvent yourself. You could try to relocate somewhere. You still you. And until you decide to see the value of your life, guess what? The pain is there. And there will be a willing participant to exploit you even more. Why are you having flashbacks of days long ago? It was all good yesterday. I would give it all back if I could just have that back. Queen Gerald got love for you. I'm one of the good ones. And I pray that whatever has got you on that path, because the end result of that path is nothing but destruction. You do understand that, right? It's just time released. That's why the devil don't give, that's why the devil doesn't take credit for your destruction. He prepares for it. Like a mouse in a labyrinth. Because he knows that you've got to make choice. That's why you see people say, do of thy will. Do whatever you like. Do what you like. That's what it is. Because what it boils down to is free will. You tired of getting disrespected? Start respecting yourself. You tired of seeing the same outcome? Stop entertaining it. Well, that's easy said, done, Gerald, because, you know, I'm just sustaining. He pay all the bills. Yeah. Why won't you pay your own? Because you think it's easier to do a trade. I'll just open the Golden Arches. He'll be finished in a while. That's why you're numb. That's why you're frozen. Because you are condoning a pattern and a behavior that don't serve you. Meanwhile, you smirking and laughing, but you the butt of the joke, literally. And then when you get tired of being tired and try to make a break for it, guess what? Some won't let you break. Some will intend to break you. That's why all things come full circle, family. Come on. society. Look, stop arguing. Stop sitting up in here pointing the finger at the pimp, at the drug dealer, at the abusive person. Stop doing that. None of that would have merit if you didn't put yourself there to begin with. Well, you know, Joe, you got to play to pay. Okay. Is it worth your tears? Is it worth that STD? Is it worth your lineage? Is it worth your last name? And I got this feeling that somebody said, well, that's why you have divorces, Gerald. That's why, women are strategic. Well, you know what? Because I don't want to see my value, I'll just take his last name and I'm going to ride that till the wheels fall off. And then I'll get off right there. And then I'll take that one and I'll ride that on out. So you're basically saying that your life is only for exploitation? Because you're treating your life like an amusement park. As long as I pay my toll, I can ride it as long as I want. So what? They got a sign on it saying it's out of commission. I own it. Why are we talking about that? Meanwhile, you look for guidance in broken people. I told y'all, it's made for TV. That ain't nothing but propaganda. If they were to turn around and pull the lights back and say, okay, let's make this reality TV about life. What's really going on with you? You would find a bunch of low self-esteem people that have addictions and do not have a clue of value of their purpose. That's why they're walking around catatonic today. Well, as long as I get that bread, they laughing at you. Because what you think is bread is nothing but crumbs. I'll do one better. Since we want to be so culturally aware, why you don't see all the other cultures exploiting themselves willfully? I'm not going to be delusional and say it don't happen, because it do. It do. You just got to know where to look. And once it hits the internet, it's there forever. Don't fool yourself thinking it's not. It is. It is. And it's a matter of time, God forbid, somebody that looks just like you, that shares your bloodline, sees it. You realize how many embarrassed great grandmothers and grandfathers are going to be walking around in the next 20 years? It's already starting now. While other cultures are setting up their family lineage monetarily, there are certain cultures that only leave disrespect. Only get together when we're putting you in the ground, not when you're standing above it. Only to act a fool because you felt that you were entitled that from them. Come on, man. Come on. But why could you expect anything less when you don't even see value in your own essence? Queen, if you only loved yourself more, you would come to understand You were made perfect. You want that? You want that? Why don't you have the discipline to grow it? Because, see, society wants you to think that your actions will make you the belle of the ball. But really, that ain't the tune that's being portrayed. When in actuality, they want you to be the Jezebel. And the Jezebel is nothing but the party favor. She don't get claimed. She get disrespected. But at the end of the day, that's somebody's mother. That's somebody's sister. That's somebody's daughter. Listen up, King. You smiling now because of what you did, what you got away with. I hope you have thick skin. And I pray that you don't have a daughter. Because guess what? As long as you stay on the path you're going on, you are pretty much setting the stage for a younger version of you. Charlene here. And he gonna do everything. A divided house cannot stand. But what is a house with no love in it? It is nothing but a safe haven for denial. Because a home has love in it. You know what else is there? God. Why you keep calling her wifey if you won't marry her? Well, we've been together for 10 years. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? What is it in that period of time that you have not seen? When the truth of the matter is, you already knew by year 4 what they were about. Maybe it's the truth of the matter is you don't have the courage to stand up and be accounted for. We are in the social times where society is trying to convince women that guess what? If you want to reproduce, settle with a gay man. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You might as well continue to lay with Sheila and that strap on. Because ain't nothing coming out of it. Meanwhile, they're laughing at your confusion. Because you are doing work that they ain't got to do. I remember there was a time that socially someone put out there that said, you know what? We don't need the Klan anymore. They don't read. They don't even care about themselves. So why should we? But what they did not expect was suburbia started to embrace bad behavior. And Marsha wanted to act and be like Lisa. Little Brant wanted to emulate Tyrone. And little pockets started to expand, and bad behavior became the norm. Can you imagine what the world would be like? Can you imagine what the United States would be like if we just took 40% effort to focus on what we need to do, not what we want to do? We wouldn't have 50% of the BS that's going on today. You wouldn't even have a platform. Well, that's why, Gerald, I'm going to unify with my fellow female friends, and we're going to march. We're going to march for our equality. How you going to march on your equality when you don't even know who you are? I mean, I know that our beloved president threw y'all an alley-oop. Mm-hmm. And don't think because people are not sitting in tables with nameplates, excuse me, that there's no influence still going on. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. I mean, do the math. The loser left a billionaire. How is that possible? Hmm? Hmm. Yeah. And our beloved president, and I ain't even gonna make it. I'm not even going to entertain the fact of pigmentation. And I made this public note. Why are our schools still jacked up? Why are our teachers still underpaid? They spend more time with you, with your child. Why is it there's no funding and support for extracurricular activities? But yet we want to sit here and hold our face because little Junior then blew Ray Ray away. Come on, girl. We got to go show our teeth in front of the camera and paint a picture that he wasn't that. Well, yes, he was. Yes, he was. And you failed as a parent. You failed. We are in a society that we are building, we are burying our young before, and our young are not burying us. Why are we talking about that? Hmm? Why we ain't talking about that? But you got enough energy and passion to go tear up a school, the same place that you should be educating yourself. You want to break windows. Mm-hmm. Divided house can't stand. Well, you don't understand, Gerald. I got my rights. Yeah, you got your rights. And I got a right not to know your business. But you putting it down my throat. You're making it a point that you're exposing that to our babies. I got a right to protect them. But we ain't talking about that, huh? And I told y'all what's going down. New 50 Shades of Grey coming out. And guess what? Y'all gonna run right to that movie and you're gonna watch and emulate what you see, just on a lesser scale, and don't realize how impressionable you are. Love don't hurt, family. Did you forget that? Why aren't we talking about that? But oh, No, Gerald, I don't want to talk about that because that means I got to take accountability for my choices. Okay, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with even in saying, you know what, I'm afraid? I don't understand. I identified this, but I don't have the tools to master it. I used to always promote this a couple years back. And then I got to a point where I said, well, you know what? At the end of the day, it's your life. But I'm going to throw this out there anyway. If you're going through something, and at the least identify that there is a pattern that is not conducive to the betterment of your life, how about the protection of it? Go talk to a counselor. Nobody got to know your business. If you're working a full-time job, you got health benefits. You paying for this. Go talk to somebody. Because as long as you gravitate to your family and the people in your circles, it's going to sustain. Because what you might not realize is what's being revealed is they didn't master it either. That's why they condone it. That's why they downplay it. They always got to laugh. Well, you know, they just being crazy. Don't you realize that person's in pain? You love them, right? You say you love them. Why don't you protect them? But the truth of the matter is, to do that, that means you got to be authentic. That means you got to be real. That means you have to be vulnerable. But your pride and ego got you in a chokehold. Because then that means you have to admit to yourself that you made bad decisions. And what's wrong with that? You keep echoing, well, what's wrong with having options, Gerald? I ain't ready to settle down. But every time you invest your time, you always get it blown up in your face. So basically what you're saying indirectly is you settling. How you gonna sit up here and say, well, all she does, she gravitates to drama. That's all she about. But that's your friend. That's your friend. So maybe, just maybe you will have the courage to admit you do the same thing too. And what's the travesty is every time that you decide to look away, ignore, deflect, you are basically telling that little boy and that little girl that lives inside you, you don't matter. Everything you went through didn't matter. It was in vain. I got this feeling right now. Somebody's dealing with, you got violated. Yeah, I'm talking to you. And you have rattled this in your brain, trying to find the position to make it feel okay because you've been teeter-tottering. You know what you need? You've even gotten to the point that you say, well, you know, I got a type. You know why people have types, family? Because they won't claim it. But that type is really paying homage to the person that got away. Just look at the pictures. Look at the mannerisms. Family, if you got 5 minutes, I want you to do this. Your favorite search engine or music portal, I want you to pull up this song called I'm the Exception to the Rule. It's by The Temptations. And I want you to listen to the words. Because the truth of the matter is, you are the exception. That's why there's only one you. There might be somebody saying, well, Gerald, I'm a twin. Okay. I know those new agers want to convince you that, well, symbolically, symbiotically, you think alike and stuff. You have one spirit. And depending on how and when you choose to embrace it, you'll see how beautiful it is. But the truth of the matter is, you'll also come to understand those who did not want you to. So how can you call yourself strong when you willfully choose not to protect you? Come on now. I'm one of the good ones, fam. You're not supposed to be spending another day in depression. Why are you doing that? You'll come to understand that everybody sees that. And all that does is show how fragile you really are. That you ain't built for that. You see, we know these people. They are strong with them fingers. But see, God is the ultimate comedian too, because God has a way of giving you the opportunity to speak your truth. Only for the little boy and a little girl to come out when it's given. That's why we hear people have said through ages of time, be careful what you wish for, what you speak upon. You just might get it. Words have power, family. They don't know time. And that's why pain lives. Can you not see that? Some of y'all are still holding on to wounds that happened 20, 30 years ago. And you know what's sad about it? The person that inflicted those wounds will never know the magnitude of its power. So you're over there struggling for free. That's okay, Gerald. That's why I get high. I get high. Be popping them pills. I be on them dating sites. Because I like the new. Queen, they taking your money. And they not giving you your respect. They're using your body like a tissue paper. Why you think you got them blotches? Nah, Joe, I'm just gaining weight and losing it. That's all it is. That's blood infections, Queen. Somebody looking in the mirror right now like, oh, yeah. I'm trying to save you from you. But he told me is, if I give him everything he needs, he'll be loyal. He ain't gonna be loyal because he ain't loyal to himself because he don't know who he is. So how can he embrace his direction? Maybe that's the reason why he chooses not to use protection. Now, we want to turn around and give a pass to sodomy. He ain't got time for anything else, but he'll make time for that. You do understand the abuser once was the abused, right? Somebody had to teach him. No, it don't happen. Okay, okay. I can't take your pills. I can't take your tears away. But I hope it becomes your truth. I can't take away what they did to you. But I hope that you're able to stand. I cannot facilitate your dreams if you don't see the value in your life. But what I can do is pray that you make it through. You know what's painful, family? And I know I didn't ram my mouth, but you're worth it. What's painful is that you live in your life and opportunities are revealed. Hopefully that you're using your discernment. Hopefully you are really embracing this beautiful word called no, because no does not mean forever. It means under review. Anthony Hamilton had a song called Life Has a Way of Humbling You Down. And check it out. Beautiful song. And ain't nothing worse for you to be living your life and you run into someone that was a part of it. And the truth revealed when you make eye contact with them, it's very, very powerful because it's spiritual. Because the eyes are the window to the soul. And without even saying a word, you stare into their eyes and you already know their pain. You see the tragedy and how it has gotten to the point it affects their physical features. And it's very heartbreaking because family, doesn't matter how strong your pride is, if you had any inclination of love in your being, you hurt. You hurt for them. But in the same breath, you come to understand why you were ushered on. See, I had to pick my words. I had to. Queens, there's no benefit in being promiscuous. There is not. What is a rainforest that's not protected? It gets decimated and left barren. I can't make you see it. I can't. But at a minimum, you owe it to your babies. Because if you do not, protect them, you know what's going to happen? Everything that you went through, they're going to do that times 4. And that's going to wear you out because you're going to automatically understand and be able to connect to that emotion. You're going to know exactly what's going on. Because it's going to take you back to when you first turned away. It's not your story. And oh yeah, before I go, let me tell you, this is for somebody. I want you to understand something, Queen. A spiritual man is not your father. He knows his placement in your life, but he can't make you walk it. And he also understands that to fulfill his purpose, he must respect your free will. So in turn, he has to be honest with himself and to identify if he can build anything. Because guess what? You may be one that can stop traffic by the way you look. But the reality is, you're not going to have that down the road. You realize how many people got it going on to only wake up and they can't move their legs? They're stricken with a disease. You don't talk about that now, do we? What about this? They finally try to convince themselves they got their lives in order, and someone comes in only to be told, you can't have children. Why aren't we talking about that? Until you decide to see the value in your life, can you see to understand the reason of why you are where you are? But get a snapshot of what is to come. You know, and I say this to you because people that are spiritual, I'm not talking about the religious folk. There's a tremendous difference between being religious and spiritual. Let me make this clear. Religious only means pattern. Spiritual is connection, intimacy. Into me, I see. Because if I can't see and understand me, I can't understand him and why he makes it so. So do you know who you are? Because until you make a conscious decision to understand, embrace that, you ain't living. You're not. I hope that each and every one of you have a blessed weekend. Sidestep the negative, speak your truth, and place him first. But I will say this, the closer you embrace your authenticity of who you are, you also understand how priceless every breath is. You also come to understand why you can't be with them, because that is some spiritual influence. Oh, don't worry about that. The moment that you decide to be real with you, you'll also be able to know the power of telling yourself, I love you. It gives off a certain vibration. But you'll also see the effects when they ain't around. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Why are you holding on to hate? You know what hate is, right? That is fear, unclaimed, founded by perceptions made by your ego and pride. And who wins? Everybody that you allowed to exploit you, even the person in the mirror. You gotta love yourself. Be blessed.